If you feel like the world is moving faster than ever before, you're not. You're not going crazy.
No, no, not at all.
You are absolutely right. It's not just a feeling, it's a measurable physical
It
phenomenon.
really is.
Our sources confirm that we actually speak faster than people did back in the 1950s. And maybe the most surprising thing is that in the last 20 years, the average speed we walk in cities has gone up by 10%.
Everything is accelerating.
Yeah.
And that acceleration creates this massive, really painful internal contradiction for you, for the listener.
How so?
Well, the world demands high speed, high output, constant availability, but your internal capacity for sustained, deep focus, the very thing you need to keep up is, well, it's rapidly deteriorating.
Okay, so that's the core tension we need to explore today. This deep dive, which is based heavily on sources referencing crucial work like Johann Hari's Stolen Focus, is all about understanding this epidemic of distraction.
Exactly.
And we're going beyond the simple just try harder advice to look at the systemic, the engineered causes of our lost attention.
And that walking speed example, it's not trivial. It shows how that global pressure for speed is internalizing. It's forcing our nervous systems into a constant state of high alert.
Which makes slow, deep thinking feel unnatural.
Or even stressful.
Okay, let's unpack this. Just how bad is this attention drain? Can you give us a sense of the scale?
The scale is genuinely staggering. The research shows that, on average, our work, whatever the task is, gets interrupted, or we switch tasks every 3 minutes.
Every 3 minutes.
Think about that continuous cycle of stopping and starting. And then there's the phone. The sources show we spend nearly 4 hours a day absorbed in that device. Often, it's much more.
And I'm guessing that 4 hours is made up of thousands of tiny interactions.
Precisely. We're talking about unconscious conditioned behavior. The average person touches their mobile phone an astonishing 2,617 times a day.
Wow. 2,617 times. If we accept that this isn't accidental, what's the immediate consequence for how we, engage with the world?
The consequence is the wholesale loss of depth. Yeah. We often say attention is a limited resource, like money. Or maybe a better analogy is like a tank of fuel. When you're faced with an information flood, and we are living in a digital deluge, you're forced to sacrifice depth for breadth.
So you skim everything, but understand nothing.
You skim, you scan, you expose yourself to more content, but you don't dissect or truly integrate any of it.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, why does that erosion of depth matter so much?
It matters because progress stalls without it. Solving complex problems, whether they're personal challenges or, huge collective endeavors, requires deep, sustained reflection.
Right.
Our sources point out that world-changing achievements, the invention of the internet, the Apollo program, they were the result of many brilliant minds being able to focus deeply on incredibly complicated problems, all at the same time. If we lose that, we lose our ability to navigate the crises of our time.
So let's track how fast this is happening. There's a specific metric on this collective attention decay that's, it's pretty alarming. In 2013, a trending topic held our collective attention for about 17 and a half hours.
Okay.
By 2016, that was already down to just under 12 hours. We're just constantly seeking the next new thing, and the cycle is shrinking fast.
That is the attention cliff we're walking off. And it forces us to ask a really profound question.
Which is?
Are we, as a species, just becoming less capable, less intelligent? Or is something actively altering the way our brains process information and rewards?
Well, it feels easier to blame ourselves, right? I just have no willpower. But if this is engineered, why does it feel like such a personal failing?
That's the genius of the engineering. We need to talk about behavioral conditioning, going all the way back to B.F. Skinner. We have been expertly conditioned to seek digital reinforcement.
The little hits of dopamine.
Exactly. Think about that moment when you're standing in line or waiting for a meeting. Before you even consciously decide to check your phone, your hand is already reaching for it.
That unconscious reach, before the thought has even fully formed.
Yes. You're anticipating a rush of positive reinforcement, a like, a comment, some validation, or just some easy entertainment. You aren't checking for something important. You're checking for a reward.
So the habit loop is boredom leads to action picking up the phone, which leads to the reward, which just solidifies the whole unconscious habit.
Spot on. And here's the crucial point. This systematic weakening of our attention isn't an accident. It's an intended outcome of the design.
And it explains so much.
It explains why you might struggle to sit still and finish a 200-page book you used to love, or why it's so hard to just listen, really listen, in a conversation with someone you care about. Your attention is weakened because your behavior is conditioned for distraction.
The sources also talk about a rise in anxiety, this feeling of emptiness. How does a conditioned attention deficit lead to emptiness?
Because that feeling of focus is deeply tied to purpose and a sense of competence. When you're constantly operating in a state of fractured attention, you never get that satisfying feeling of completion. You never spend enough time on anything challenging to really extract meaning from it.
You're just spinning your wheels.
You're busy, but you're not accomplishing anything of depth. And that constant energy drain leaves you depleted, which your brain perceives as anxiety and emptiness.
Okay, this brings us to the mechanics of how focus is actually destroyed. The first major factor is this continuous context, switching, jumping from a stressful email to an Instagram story, then back to a work document.
That continuous frenetic switching fundamentally reconfigures the brain's attention system. We tend to forget that switching tasks costs the brain hard energy.
Right.
Your brain, pound for pound, is the most energy-intensive organ you have, and every time you switch your attention, you spend mental resources.
So a distraction isn't just lost time, it's a measurable energy drain.
It's cognitive friction. The research even shows that just having your phone nearby, face up, with notifications on, makes you a demonstrably worse student or professional,
Even if you don't check it.
even if you successfully resist. The effort required to resist refocusing is a constant energy expenditure that just drains your pool of attention.
Okay, so switching is expensive. What about filtering? We're constantly filtering things we don't even realize we're seeing.
Filtering is a massive hidden cost. I mean, imagine our ancestors 15,000 years ago. Their filtering job was intense but narrow. Focus on the prey, avoid the predator.
The simple inputs.
Right. Today, you are forced to unconsciously filter tens of thousands of inputs. Ads, spam, emails, irrelevant content, algorithmic outrage.
For the mental load of just figuring out what's real and what's trying to sell you something must be exhausting.
It is. This is filtering fatigue. And this, if we connect it back, explains the short lifespan of modern controversies. We are so overwhelmed by new inputs that we just can't afford the mental attention to keep yesterday's outrage alive for more than a day or two before the next thing overwhelms the system.
That makes perfect sense. Now, let's talk about the biggest lie in modern work. Multitasking.
Ah, yes.
Just state it clearly. Why is this concept fraudulent?
Because the human brain cannot truly multitask. That concept originated to describe computers, not organic brains. When you think you're doing two things at once, like writing an email while listening to a presentation, you're actually engaging in rapid attentional juggling.
Juggling, I like that.
We're switching your attention back and forth at a dizzying speed, which just fries your capacity for sustained focus.
And we have to make a distinction here. In the real world, some juggling is necessary. Caring for a child while cooking, for instance.
That's the critical distinction. Those real-world demands are challenging enough. But when you add continuous digital juggling on top of that, checking feeds, responding to notifications, you are guaranteeing that you will perform all tasks poorly. You ensure that when you need deep focus, the capacity just won't be there.
It's already been spent.
Exactly. And this systemic friction prevents us from ever achieving what is a flow state.
Right, the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Exactly. He defined flow as that wonderful feeling of absolute effortless concentration where you lose your sense of self and time just melts away.
It's that moment where the task just seems to complete itself and you feel amazing afterward.
Yes, but flow requires very specific conditions. Clear goals, immediate feedback, and above all, intense, uninterrupted concentration. Distraction is the #1 enemy of this state.
And we live in a culture that normalizes being interrupted constantly.
By the phone, by Slack, by the expectation of instant availability, that environment makes achieving flow almost impossible.
So if you haven't felt that sense of deep, focused flow lately, the sources are saying that's a profound symptom of this environmental decay.
It is. If you cannot get lost in your work, you are lost in your notifications.
Another major symptom is the decline of our reading capacity. Reading digitally is just fundamentally different from reading a physical book.
Totally different. Digital reading is inherently nonlinear. Your eyes are trained to scan for keywords, links, pop-ups. You almost never read a full article from start to finish.
Whereas a physical book forces a linear process, one sentence after another. It's like a workout for your concentration.
It's one of the single greatest exercises for strengthening sustained focus. It forces the brain to stick with one complex idea. And the research shows a surprising physical symptom. Many people report that their eyes literally have trouble fixing on words for long periods.
They feel the need to rush or skip ahead.
Exactly. Their eyes just want to jump around because they've been habituated by years of brief, superficial digital consumption. A great way to fight back is just 30 minutes a day with a physical book. No phone in the room. It really is a workout for your focus muscle.
Okay, so we have to zoom out now and look at the system itself.
We do. And you have to understand, the sole objective of these massive tech companies, especially social media platforms, maximum screen time equals maximum revenue. It's a simple, relentless economic drive.
And their engineers are brilliant. They know exactly how to exploit our deepest, oldest human weaknesses to get that screen time.
They exploit two main vulnerabilities. First, the negativity bias. Our brains evolved to prioritize threats. We noticed the car crash over the beautiful sunset because our survival depended on it.
And the algorithms know this.
The algorithms capitalize on this by promoting content with negative emotional charge per count. Fear, anger, outrage, because it gets viewed and shared far more often. It's not that people are suddenly angrier, it's that the platform's architecture rewards and boosts anger.
And the second vulnerability.
Our inherent tendency toward gossip and conflict. The us versus them discourse. Whether it's trivial online drama or deep political polarization, if there's a fight, we are drawn to it. The system feeds on that friction.
And the result is a constant bombardment of dramatic, alarming messages.
It creates a constant state of low-grade conflict, what the sources call a habit of hate. This hyperpolarizes the population and puts us into a continuous fight-or-flight mode. And when we're in high alert, we are less capable of complex thought, less likely to compromise. We adopt a mindset that's always looking for problems, not solutions.
This all brings us back to that core truth. Concentration is inversely proportional to screen time. So if these powerful tools like Google Maps or Google Translator are free, we have to ask why.
Well, the superficial answer is ads. More screen time, more ad revenue. But the truly perverse reason is far more significant.
Which is?
The real business is collecting a precise, detailed profile of you. Your preferences, your politics, your fears, your purchase habits. These companies know more about you and can predict your behavior better than you know yourself.
The convenience is the bait, but our data is the real prize. The sources use a perfect thought experiment. Most of us would happily pay, say, $1 a month for Google Maps. It's incredibly useful.
Of course. But the companies gain far more profit from the massive amount of behavioral and location data generated by its free, continuous usage than they ever would from that dollar. We're not the customers, we're the product, and our focus is the raw material being mined.
So to synthesize all this for you listening,
The profound insight here is that this problem of distraction is not primarily your lack of willpower. It's an environment that has been expertly, relentlessly engineered for distraction.
like an obesogenic environment that generates disease.
Exactly. Our digital environment systematically generates distraction and anxiety. You are fighting an army of engineers and business people who profit from keeping you glued to the screen. Our increasing anxiety, our inability to solve complex problems, these are not glitches. They are downstream consequences of a deliberate design.
And recognizing that you aren't the sole culprit is the first step.
It's the absolutely critical first step toward regaining control. You can't solve this just by downloading an app to block notifications.
Right.
The structure itself needs to be acknowledged as hostile to deep thought.
And this leads to a really powerful philosophical concept to leave you with, connecting focus directly to how you choose to spend your finite time on this earth. The Spanish philosopher José Ortega y Gasset gave us this idea. He said, "The most essential attribute of existence is its super urgency. Life is always urgent. It is lived here and now. Delay or transfer is impossible."
Here and now.
What he means is that you only exist in this moment, right now. If we're constantly distracted, checking our phones thousands of times a day for empty entertainment, we are literally losing our lives by failing to engage fully with the here and now. The choice of what you focus on is the choice of what you prioritize in the urgent, finite time of your existence.
So we'll challenge you. What will you choose to do with your precious, limited focus today?
That's our deep dive for today. We hope this has given you a clearer, sharper lens on the environment you inhabit. Think about that urgency.